Welcome. Today we will be talking about laws of perceptual organization, or also known as the Gestalt theory. We will go over 5 main principles of Gestalt, including proximity, similarity, continuity, closure, figure, and ground. This content is a summary of page 29 in Graphic Design Solutions, 6th edition by Landa. The laws of perceptual organization, or Gestalt, is a design principle which emphasizes that the whole of anything is greater than its parts. In terms of visual thinking or visual design, it affects how a viewer creates order and unity in a composition. The first principle is proximity. Proximity states that elements near each other in a spatial proximity are perceived as belonging together. On the example, we had a set of squares which appear to be together, and then off in the distance is another little set of squares that do not appear to be part of the whole. Here are some more examples that illustrate the principle of proximity. Again, notice how once the different shapes are brought together, they appear to be one. A famous example of this principle in use is the IBM logo. By themselves, these blue horizontal bars are nothing but lines, but once put together, they appear to make the letters IBM, an iconic logo. Next, we have similarity. Similarity is grounded on the idea that things which share visual characteristics such as shape, size, color, texture, value, or orientation will be seen as belonging together. In these examples, we have different variations of similarity. On the left-hand side, we have color, those black and those with a white and black stroke appear to be together. In the middle, we have size. Those smaller and bigger circles also appear to be together. On the right-hand side, we have shapes. They appear to make a pattern. This principle can be used to create visual thinking. What I mean by that is we see the hamster wheels in this example. They are all similar, but right there on the right hand side of the advertisement is a Kia. The Kia appears to stand out precisely because it is not similar to the other content around it. Next up, we have continuity. Continuity states that this principle occurs when the eye is compelled to move through one object and continue to another object. On the right-hand side, we have a series of circles. By themselves, these circles are just random, but the viewer can connect these circles and make out a shape that might look similar to an X or some type of DNA strand. Here are some more examples of this principle. On the left-hand side, we have these black circles with a white line running through the middle, or what appears to be a white line. It could also just be empty space. In the middle, we have a series of oval-like looking shapes, right? These shapes are stacked on top of one another, and therefore it appears as though a sort of squiggly line runs through the middle. And finally, on the right hand side, another set of circles. These set of circles are not touching, but they appear to form some type of S-like looking shape. A great example of this principle in practice is the subway logo. The subway logo starts with an arrow on the left-hand side, which prompts the viewer to begin reading there, making its way through the arrow or through the word subway, and then finally ending with the arrow on the right-hand side on the Y. Another great example of this is the Coca-Cola logo, as the swoosh on the C sort of guides the viewer to read throughout the whole word. Next up, we have closure. Closure is the principle of proximity that states that when an object is incomplete or a space is not completely enclosed, the viewer makes up the rest, essentially. On the right hand side, we have a lot of hexagons or pentagons. These pentagons by themselves might not result in much, but together they appear to make a soccer ball. Some more examples. On the left hand side, we have a series of dashed lines. These dashed lines appear to make shapes. On the right hand side, we have 3 circles with a triangle in the middle, or at least an empty space in which us as a viewer go ahead and fill in that triangle, even though it might not really exist in the composition. An amazing example of this is the USA Network logo. We really only have 2 shapes here, the U and the A, but they are distorted enough into which the viewer is encouraged to fill in that empty space, which becomes the S. And lastly, we have the figure and ground principle. This principle is based upon the relationship between an object and the surrounding space. A famous example is the vase and the face picture. Right, the black shape appears to make some type of vase, but the space around it, the white around it, encourages the viewer to then fill those spaces in with a couple of faces. Here are some more examples. On the left hand side, we either have what appears like to be a fork, or also a series of bottles. On the right hand side, we have black shapes punched in with some white arrows. And so we might either see the arrows or see the running men or men holding on to one another as they walk. A great example of this is the Pittsburgh Zoo and Aquarium logo. At first glance, it just seems like a tree with a few birds and a few fish. Upon further investigation, we see that the tree has shapes of animals that surround it, like that of a gorilla and that of a lioness. To summarize, the laws of perceptual organization are based on the Gestalt principle. Gestalt is a design principle which emphasizes that the whole of anything is greater than its parts. In terms of visual thinking or design thinking, It affects how a viewer creates order and unity in a composition. And lastly, remember there are, depending on where you look, different principles of Gestalt. I did a summary of these principles based on Chapter 2, page 29 of Graphic Design Solutions by Landa. If you have any more ideas on other type of design content that I can cover on this channel, please feel free to comment down below. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you share. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye.